Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez. Well, it's Friday, and that means it's time once again to take a look at some of the highlights from another week of insightful discussion on our daily talk show, Barnstable This Morning. It was confirmed late last week that President Barack Obama and the First Family will be making a return trip to Martha's Vineyard in August for a 10-day stay. So on Tuesday, July 27th, we asked Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce CEO Wendy Northcross if she expects an economic boost on the Cape while the Obamas vacation on the island.
In some people's mind, the Cape and Islands, it's one place, and we know it's very distinct, unique villages and areas, but Cape and Islands, one place. And when the national and international press are talking about it, I mean, that's just media coverage you can't buy. And it kind of paints us with an aura of, gee, important people go there, or it's a little exclusive. So it does, it will have some direct impact. And like I said to you yesterday, there's a thing called compression. If there's a lot of folks on the island because they're there serving the president or they're covering the story of the president, the island gets filled up, and then people that are nearby or want to come to the Cape and Islands end up going to the Cape because the vineyard is full. So that happens. But just the media attention and then, the moving around of the president. We're half betting that he shows up for the 100th anniversary of the Pilgrim Monument in Provincetown during, the month of August. We'll see. If he moves on to the Cape at some point, that would be awesome. That would be very exciting. But, yeah, it will have an impact for us.
Our Thursday, July 29th episode was a busy one filled with good insight from our guests. So much so that two of our discussions from that day make this week's highlight show. Boil and conservation orders have been a prevalent issue for a number of Barnstable's fire districts this summer. So we spent our weekly water protection segment learning from Cape Cod Commission hydrologist Gabrielle Belfit about the sole source aquifer beneath our feet that supplies all of the Cape's drinking water. Here, she defines what a sole source aquifer is and how it's composed here on Cape Cod.
What is the Cape Cod sole source aquifer?
Sure.
It's not one underground body of water. It's actually separated into 6 lenses.
Okay.
So the lenses are actually hydrologically not connected to one another. We've adopted Indian names for them. They're known as the Sagamore lens, which refers to the groundwater that's basically underneath the land surface from the canal all the way to the Bass River.
Okay.
And the Monomoy lens is underneath, like, the towns of Dennis, Harwich, Brewster, and Orleans. Then as you're going out the Cape, you have the Nauset, Quessett, Pamet, and Pilgrim lens. So you can kind of think of these lenses a little bit like picture a Boston cream pie.
Okay.
Okay?
I can do that,
and
yeah.
the cream basically represents the water.
Okay.
And the cake on the top is going to be the unsaturated sands that are above the water table. And below, the layer below, in many places on the Cape is bedrock, but as you go to the outer Cape, that lower layer of cake is actually salt water. So the groundwater, the fresh groundwater, actually floats on top of the salt water as you go out further out on the Cape.
Later in the show, we chatted with Finance Director Mark Milne about the 2 questions that will appear on the November election ballot here in town. The first asks for a $750,000 override to pay for sewer expansion debt. The second asks for an additional $3 million override to fund a taking and repair program for private roads. Mark explained the anticipated impact on your tax bill if both questions pass, as well as what may or may not happen if the questions fail. If both of these ballot questions were approved, and these would be permanent property tax overrides, correct?
They would be if the town council continues to approve them every single year. They will require the council's approval every single year.
Okay, so supposing that, I would have to imagine if both of these pass, they would be approved by the council for the next several years to come. Would that be safe to say?
Yes, I would assume that is true.
Okay, so let's suppose that the ballot questions do get approved, and obviously that's a long way away from whether or not we actually know whether that'll happen. but what kind of impact will this have to an individual property owner to see an extra $3.75 million total added to the tax roll?
You're looking at about a 28 cent increase on the tax rate, the current tax rate, and that would equate to about an $87 a year increase on the median home value right now, which is about $311,000.
Okay.
So it breaks down about $17 for the sewer construction question and $70 for the private road question. Yes.
Now, supposing that they don't get passed, is there a financial backup plan, so to speak, or not really?
Well, no. We at this point, no. We wouldn't have. The only funding sources we would have for the sewer construction program, if it doesn't pass, would be the additional rooms tax and the meals tax, and we project that revenue source alone will allow us to do about $20 million of sewer construction, but that's it. So we're looking at a limited sewer construction program if those are the only funding sources. So then we'll go back to the drawing board and see what else we can come up with. But by then, we're looking at the completion of that comprehensive wastewater management plan. We'll have more information regarding science and technology at our disposal.
Sure.
So, we'll probably come back with a redrafted plan that may include some new and revised information.
The Cape Cod Baseball League All-Star Game was played on Wednesday at Fenway Park in Boston. The West All-Stars blanking the East 5-0. Several pitchers contributed to the shutout, but it all started with Cotuit's Austin Wood. Cape League reporter Katie Fitzpatrick calls Wood the best starting pitcher in the Cape League this year, and here she tells us more about the main attraction on the mound at Lowell Park and gives us a preview of what to look for across the league as the playoff picture shapes up.
I mean, he just reminds me so much of Justin Masterson. When I, was working for Wareham back in 2005, 2006, I saw Justin Masterson, and he was lights out. He's just a step above the rest. He just has a finesse, a style. He has a composure. I mean, he's the whole package, and he's everything that you could want in a pitcher. And he's a nice guy to top it all off. I mean, he's just a great kid, and you're definitely going to be hearing from Austin Wood in the future. I mean, he's got beautiful, beautiful stuff. I mean, he's got everything.
Well, certainly a name to remember and a guy to go out and see if you happen to be around Lowell Park on the weekends. Now, I want to kind of take a look ahead here, Katie. What can fans look forward to in the second half? What have been the big storylines in the league up to this point, and what do you expect to be the big storylines going forward?
Well, I think the biggest storyline right now, I know that you want to hear Cotuit and Hyannis stuff, but I say keep an eye on YD. I mean, they've taken over Brewster for first place in the Eastern Division. The last time I checked, didn't look at it this morning, but I'm pretty sure that they're still in first place. And I think that the battle in the East for the top spot is the story to watch. Mm-hmm. I think both teams, like I said, are absolutely stacked with talent, and I think that it's going to be more of a battle. The Eastern Division is a lot like the AL East in Major League Baseball. They're just kind of a cut above the rest, and I think Brewster and YD, the battle between those two teams is going to be the most interesting for sure.
Remember, if you'd like to see these complete interviews, every episode of Barnstable This Morning is available to watch online. You can check them all out at town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, that's all for now. Everybody have a great weekend. I'm Nick Cortez, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.